Your electric bill doesn't wait. Your mortgage doesn't wait. Your groceries, your insurance, your medications, none of them wait. They show up every single week, like clockwork. But here's the strange part. The dividend ETFs most Americans own, the ones every financial channel recommends, only pay you 4 times a year. 4 times, out of 52 weeks. Think about that for a second. You retired so you could finally feel calm about money, but your portfolio pays you on a schedule that doesn't match a single bill you owe. That gap between when money comes in and when money goes out is the quiet reason so many smart retirees feel uneasy, even when their portfolios are bigger than ever. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you how to fix that. The complete system. 11 dividend ETFs structured so distributions land in your account on roughly 45 out of the 52 weeks of the year. And if 11 feels like too many, I'll show you the 3 ETF starter version anyone can begin with today. Quick note before we go further, I'm not a financial advisor or a government employee. Everything I share here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. Now, here's the part most people miss. One of the most popular monthly paying names in this entire space quietly changed its schedule in January 2026. Most YouTube videos haven't caught up, and if you're following an outdated guide, you might be missing income for an entire week of the year and not even know it. So let me walk you through this properly, from the ground up. Why the quarterly rhythm breaks retirement. Here's something almost no one says out loud. The 4 most recommended dividend ETFs in America, SCHD, VYM, DGRO, and NOBL, all pay on the same 4 months: March, June, September, and December. That's it. 8 months of the year, silence. So picture this. You spent 35 years getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, the 1st and the 15th, or every Friday. Your whole life had a rhythm. Then you retire, you roll your 401k into an IRA, you buy the ETFs every video told you to buy, and suddenly your income shows up 4 times a year with nothing in between. That's not retirement, that's freelancing. This is the part that catches good investors off guard. Owning the right ETFs isn't the same as building the right income system. You can do everything by the book and still end up with a payment schedule that fights against your life instead of supporting it. And here's where smart retirees do something different. They don't throw out the quarterly ETFs. SCHD, VYM, DGRO, and NOBL are still some of the finest dividend funds ever built. Low fees, quality companies, decades of dividend growth. The smart move isn't replacing them. The smart move is pairing them with the right monthly engines so the gaps disappear. So which monthly engines actually deliver? Not just promise, actually deliver every month, year after year. That's where this gets interesting. The 2 engines, quarterly anchors and monthly income machines. The complete system has 2 parts working together. Think of it like the engine of a car. You need both pieces and each one does a job the other can't. Part 1, the quarterly anchors. SCHD, VYM, DGRO, and NOBL. These 4 ETFs hold hundreds of America's strongest dividend-paying companies. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, companies that have raised their dividends for 25, 50, even 60 years straight. Yields on these run between 2 and 3.5%. Expense ratios are nearly free. Most charge 6 to 8 basis points. That's $6 a year on every $10,000 you invest. Almost nothing. These 4 are the backbone. They give you growth, quality, and qualified dividends, which means lower taxes in a regular brokerage account. They pay in March, June, September, and December. Part 2, the monthly income machines. This is where the real cash flow rhythm comes from. 7 funds and high-quality income payers that hand you a distribution every single month. JEPI, the JP Morgan Equity Premium Income ETF, $40 billion in assets, distribution yield hovering around 8.5%, built specifically to deliver consistent monthly income through a disciplined strategy on America's largest companies. JEPI-Q, its sister fund, same JP Morgan team, same monthly schedule, yield around 10%. Combined, JEPI and JEPI-Q hold over $78 billion. That's where institutional and retail income money is going. DEVO, the Amplify Enhanced Dividend Income ETF, around 4.5% yield, monthly distributions that land at the end of every month. Realty Income, ticker O, they literally trademarked the phrase, the monthly dividend company. 661 consecutive monthly distributions, 134 dividend increases since 1994. 55 years, not a single missed month. Main Street Capital, ticker MAIN, a business development company that pays around 8% monthly, plus supplemental dividends a few times a year that bring the total even higher. SPYH, the SPDR Portfolio High Yield Bond ETF. Bond income paid monthly with a distribution yield in the 7% range. And here's the update most channels missed. Stag Industrial used to be one of the most popular monthly payers in this niche. In January 2026, Stag announced it's moving from monthly to quarterly. Same dividend, different schedule. That tells you something important. A single stock can wake up one morning and change its payment cadence. ETFs can't do that as easily. They're built around a structure, which is exactly why I prefer ETFs for income scheduling. The system stays predictable. In place of Stag, you can use a monthly REIT like Agree Realty or EPR Properties to keep the calendar full. So now you've got the two parts, 4 quarterly anchors, 7 monthly engines, 11 tickers total. But here's where it gets interesting. When you plot all 11 distributions on a calendar, the picture that emerges is the whole reason this video exists.
Let me draw this out for you. 52 weeks, 1 full year. Week 1 of every month, JEPI pays, JEPKI pays, SYHD pays. 3 deposits, all hitting your account in the first few days of the month. Week 2, quiet, catching your breath. Week 3, Realty income hits, paid around the 15th. Main Street Capital lands the same week. 2 more deposits, right in the middle of the month, exactly when mid-month bills usually arrive. Week 4, Devo pays at the end of the month. Sometimes the quarterly ETFs land here too, SCHD, Noble, depending on the quarter. And then in March, June, September, and December, the 4 quarterly anchors flood the calendar with extra deposits. SCHD, VYM, DGRO, Noble, stacked on top of the monthly engines. When you fill in the grid, week by week, something beautiful happens. You end up with distributions landing in roughly 45 out of 52 weeks of the year. Not a literal paycheck every Monday. I'm going to be straight with you about that. There are still a handful of quiet weeks, but functionally, your account sees money flowing in nearly every single week of the year. 3, sometimes 4 times a month. That's the system. Now let's talk dollars, because that's what really matters. Take a $500,000 portfolio equally weighted across these 11 holdings. The blended distribution yield works out to roughly 5.3% in today's market. 500,000 at 5.3% equals about $26,500 per year. Divide that by 52 weeks, you're averaging around $510 per week. $500 every week without selling a single share. Take Linda. She's 62, just retired from pre-K in Toledo, Ohio, spent 35 years getting paid on the 1st and the 15th, rolled her 403B into an IRA, $480,000. The first 6 months of retirement, she said it felt like feast or famine. Big check in March, nothing in April, nothing in May, panic by June. Then she rebuilt her portfolio using this system. Now her account sees deposits 3 to 4 times a month. Her grocery budget, her Medicare supplement, her heating bill, they all line up with money landing in her account. She told me, and I'm not exaggerating, that it was the first time in retirement she actually slept through the night. That's what a calendar rhythm does. It doesn't just generate income, it gives you peace. Now, before I show you the simplified version most viewers can actually start with today, drop a comment right now and let me know, are you currently living off dividend income, or are you still building toward it? I read every single comment, and the answers tell me what to cover in the next video. Here's the entry-level version. 3 tickers. Anyone can run this from day 1. SCHD, the quarterly dividend growth anchor, around 3.3% yield, pays in March, June, September, and December. JEPI, the monthly equity income engine, around 8.5% yield, pays the first week of every month. Realty income, ticker O, the monthly real estate paycheck, around 5.2% yield, pays around the 15th of every month. Blended yield across these 3, roughly 5.7%. Coverage, about half the calendar weeks, not the full 45. That takes the full 11 ETF system, but this 3 ETF version gives you the rhythm of 2 deposits a month, plus the 4 quarterly bonuses from SCHD. That's a real foundation. And here's the honest part. You can add a 4th, Devo, to fill in end-of-month weeks. That single addition takes you from 28 covered weeks to roughly 36. Now you're closing in on the full system with just 4 tickers. Now, here's the myth I need to bust before we close this out. Most people quietly believe they need $1 million to get paid weekly, that weekly dividend income is something only rich people get, that if they don't have $500,000 already, this video doesn't apply to them. Here's the truth. At $50,000 in the system, you're generating around $2,600 a year, about $50 a week. That's a phone bill or a grocery run, not a paycheck, but real growing income. At $100,000, you're at roughly $100 a week. That covers an average American's weekly grocery bill. The system is working. At $250,000, you're at $255 a week. Utilities, groceries, and a chunk of insurance handled. At $500,000, you're at $510 a week, a real supplemental paycheck. At $750,000, you're at $764 a week. That's roughly $3,300 a month, which happens to be exactly what most middle-income retirees need to close the gap between Social Security and their actual monthly expenses. You don't need $1 million to get paid weekly. You just need a system. At $100,000, this builds the habit. At $500,000, it pays a real paycheck. At $1 million, it replaces a job. And the system works at every level. The dollars scale, the strategy doesn't change. So let me leave you with one line. Write it down, screenshot it, tell your spouse. Bills don't run on a quarterly schedule. Your income shouldn't either. That's the whole video in one sentence. Smart, prepared retirees don't accept a payment rhythm that fights their life. They redesign it. They use the quarterly anchors. They add the monthly engines. They build a calendar that matches the way real life actually works. You're not someone who waits 4 months for the next deposit. You're someone who plans ahead and builds an income stream that shows up nearly every week of the year. 3 quick things before you go. First, if you know someone whose retirement income still arrives on the wrong rhythm, a sibling, a friend, a coworker about to retire, share this video with them right now. It could change how they think about the next 20 years of their financial life. Second, drop a comment and tell me which week of the month does your biggest bill hit? Mortgage, rent, insurance, whatever the big one is. Tell me below, and I'll reply with which ETF in this system best covers that week. Third, if you're serious about building retirement income and you want to stay ahead of changes like Stag moving to quarterly, the kind of detail that costs people money when they miss it, subscribe to Dividend Hustle. I cover everything that protects your income stream in plain English every single week. And in the next video, I'm breaking down the one tax mistake that quietly costs JEPI investors thousands of dollars a year and the simple account setup that fixes it before tax season ever arrives. Until then, remember, the quarterly rhythm is the old way. The weekly rhythm is the new one. And you now know exactly how to build it. I'll see you in the next one.